Okay, B'siyata Dishmaya, we're going to be continuing in Korva and Nafshi, our weekly chavura, trying to make peace between our soul, mind, and body. And we're in the middle of learning about this process and the ups and downs. And we were talking about how, last class, about how the brain is this thin membrane in between the heart and the soul, right? And it can block. It's meant to it's very thin. It's see-through. It's very fine, but it's a membrane. It's this klipa. It's this layer that's covering, and it's meant to be the bridge between the two, not to hinder in any way and not to prevent it in any way. And the body started to play along. The body started to learn. The body started to do what it needs to do. So then the brain has to be careful, right? Not to rebuke and not to say things that are out of place, to understand until finally the body's playing along and doing a little bit of what it needs to do. Let's not give any rebuke that's out of place. Let's not tell people what to do or tell myself what to do when it's not the right time, right? Most important is that we have peace between each other, and as long as there is an attempt towards peace, let's keep that peace and nurture it and grow it. And whenever there is a lack of it, then we have to be aware of it and try to get back to alignment, right? But as long as we're trying to get to alignment, we have to be very careful of what we say to ourselves and to others, right? Your child all of a sudden is listening, so don't bring up things that they're doing wrong. The bigger picture is that right now they're listening, they're being a good child. Overall, let that be the story you're telling and not the small mistakes that they make. Right? If they're doing 70% the right thing, even 50% the right thing, that's already great. So let's continue on the journey. B'ezrat Hashem, Rav Kluger says like this: הרי בצאת המעיין מבית השם בכתבי קודש המאירים את העולם בגילוי כבוד מלכותו יתברך באופן של שכל והתבוננות המביאים לידי יראת שמיים, נצטרפה אליהם חרדתם הנוראה של קודשי עליון תלמידי הבעל שם טוב. When this Ma'ayan, when this wellspring came out into the world from the house of Hashem, with amazing holy writings that illuminate the whole entire world with the revelation of the honor of Hashem, in a way of the contemplation of the mind that brings to more God consciousness, it came with that the awesomeness and the might of these holy people called Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, the students of the Baal Shem Tov. נעטפו אז מורא גדול לבלתי יראה עתה מכשול דק מן הדק למי שיראת השם אינה ראשית חוכמה לו לעשירו חס ושלום בכהרף עין ובכיחות שערה מנקודת הביטול הזך התמימות הפשוטה שהיא עיקר. Essentially, Baal Shem Tov is coming to make the whole idea is, the main idea is Yirat Shamayim, Bitul to Hashem, simple nullification to the fact that you are a human, Hashem is a God. Let's keep it, it's very simple. Know that Hashem is behind everything, you're a simple human, nullify it to Hashem, each one on their level. בקולמוסים של אש חקקו אזהרות חמורות ונוראות with quills of fire, right? Pens of fire. They wrote down very, very amazing and awesome warnings and ways להרחיק מן השכלים שלא נועדו לקרב את הנפש לבלתי השם לבדו. To all the Hasidic students, right? All the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, they all of them across the board had an idea of don't learn things that will not bring you towards Hashem. Meaning focus only on learning Torah, on learning deep ideas. Don't learn philosophy. Don't learn secular subjects and arts and things like that. That was the path of the Baal Shem Tov and his students. Why? The goal is Hashem. We have enough books in our library that you don't need to go learn from any psychology. You don't need to go learn from anything outside of Torah. There's enough here, and the only goal of any kind of learning you're doing is to learn how to come closer to Hashem. They can have amazing wisdom explaining different things at a place of interest, and it's all true. Wisdom in the nations believe it. Torah in the nations don't believe. Meaning, how am I meant to live life? How am I meant to come closer to Hashem? that you receive from the Torah. And if your whole entire goal is just coming closer to Hashem, that's why you came to this world. So then you don't have enough time to learn things that you feel like learning. You have a life ahead of you of trying to figure out how to get closer to Hashem. There's too much Torah to learn to have time to go learn something that is external to that. Again, this is the Baal Shem Tov and his students' philosophy. שזו הייתה דת הצדיקים, בעלי השמועה, אשר כתבו דבריהם קודש קודשים, אך ורק כדי לתאר ולזכך את נפש של קונה. All of their writings are coming for one purpose, those students. Right? They warned you against things that are not doing that. Use your energy only to come closer to Hashem. And all of the writings of the students of the Baal Shem Tov are coming to do one thing. To prepare you to become a better vessel to receive the light of God and to connect more to God. They all have one goal, each in their own different individual way, right? Some from the mind, some from the heart, some from action, some from learning, some from prayer, some from song. The Baal Shem Tov made, right, 60 different, the Baal Shem Tov promised, he said he wouldn't agree to come down to the world until he got 60 giborim, 60 mighty soldiers, like Shlomo Melech. The Baal Shem Tov didn't agree to come down to the world until he was promised he was going to have 60 giborim, 60 of his students that are going to come and do mighty things in the world, in his path. And then towards the end of his life, he started to give out jobs and orders, and right, this one's going to go on this path, this one I want to do this one goes to this city, this, right? נודעה איגרת הקודש שכתב בימים הרב הקדוש רבי אברהם מקליסק, זכותו יגן עלינו. There's one of the students of the Baal Shem, Rav Avram of Kalisk, wrote a letter, and he says there, sparks of flames, אשר מי תמלאנו נפשו לגשת אל התבוננות ולא להבין מתוכה להכין עליו להשית ליבו. Who could go into such levels of contemplation and to send their heart into such places without preparation? This idea is repeated in all of the Beit Midrash of the students of the Chassidut. In all of its shapes, forms, shades, colors, right? All of the different generations, like it was written from the Rav HaKadosh, the Rashab from Lubavitch, the Rebbe Rashab from Lubavitch, which I think is the fifth Rebbe or the fourth Rebbe. מעיינותיו הנובעים בספריו הקדושים מרחבים וגאויים על גדותיה שפע כביר להעברת מחמני החסידות והפנימיות, והוא שהזהיר נאות שאין לדברי חסידות כל ערך עד כי נחשבים לריק חס ושלום אם אין מביאים את הלומדים אל עבודת יגיעת התפילה. The Rebbe Rashab from Lubavitch said, all of the Hasidic teachings are worthless if they do not bring a person closer to working hard on tefillah. If you don't understand you need to beg Hashem for everything because you're not worthy of anything and you can't do anything by yourself, you didn't understand anything that was written in any Hasidic book. Yes, right, and this is again from a Chabad Rebbe. And Chabad are all about doing and action and going out there, right, and making things happen. Yes, but I have to pour my heart out and beg Hashem to help me to do that. It's hidden, it's going to do it. I'm just begging to be a vessel that's fitting to do it. And if all of my learning doesn't bring me to more beautiful prayers, to pouring out my heart more, so then I didn't get what the Baal Shem Tov was really saying. Again, who's the Baal Shem Tov? A person that used to go to the forest for hours with little children and just talk to God. So what do you think was the most important thing he was trying to bring into his students' teachings in their lives? If not a speaking, real connection with Hashem. You can learn as much as you want. You can learn all of the Kabbalistic yichudim and kavanot. But if you're not davening, if you're not opening your heart and praying to Hashem, then maybe you haven't begun to learn Chassidut really. The opposite. Learning Chassidut without Tefilah could flip a person that learns Chassidut into a very egotistical person. Again, what was Rabbi Nachman's number one job for Rabbi Natan? To turn my Torot into Tefillot. Likutei Tefillot, if Rabbi Natan didn't do Likutei Moran and just gave Rabbi Nachman likutei tefillot, Rabbi Nachman probably would have been extremely happy. His main goal that he wanted Rabbi Natan to do, turn my Torot into tefillot. And that goes for each one of us. It's not just Rabbi Natan. You learn something, you have to pray to be able to keep that. It takes a lot of tefillah to be able to keep divrei Torah. You learned something and it inspired you. You have to pour your heart out to Hashem to be able to get that. You see someone else acting in a beautiful way, doing something good. You would like to act that way as well. You want to keep that halacha. You want to be that like a mensch. You want to be that much yirat shamayim. It's not going to happen just because you saw someone else doing it and now you want to be like him. You have to pray to acquire things. So too, there was also all these different shades, holy shades of taste in the students of the Magid Mezrich, the continuer of the Baal Shem Tov. נערה ופשטה, אם לצמצם את האור ממקבליו, או להשקות את הצאן בשפע מאפקי בארות מים חיים. Right? There's times where you have to hold back all the light from those that want to receive from you. And there's times where it's time to quench the thirst of the flock. Let the shefa come down. Give as much Torah as you can. כבר אמרו הצדיקים שבעומק ובשורש שניהם לדבר אחד נתכוונו. Some of the students of the Magid didn't speak a lot. They didn't give over so much Torah. They were a Rebbe and you watched them and you saw a holy person, but it was like him and God. And some of the students of the Magid, like the Balatanya, books, talking, helping, getting involved, wars, Napoleon, this, that, out there. Both of them had the same intention. Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim. They're both the words of a living God. They're both true paths. Like Rav Avram of Kalech said in the beginning of his letter, Av echad lechulam, we all have one Father. Makom echad upashut nitpashtu kulam bechelim mikelim shonim. בהפשט ומלבוש יישאר פשוט 1% בחבלי אבותות האהבה. You can understand this, that we all came from Hashem. You can understand this, that all these teachings came from the Baal Shem Tov. Right? Either way, you want to put it on Hashem or on the Baal Shem Tov, both are true. Right? But what he's essentially saying, Rav Avram of Kalisk, is we all came from the same place. It's all about love. Don't look at all of this multiplicity, Chabad, Breslov, Square, Satmar, this, that. Baal Shem Tov. All coming to do the same thing. Hard to say that in our generation with everything we see going on, right? But again, the level of the tzadikim and the level of the teachings, they're pure and they're all just different revelations of the light, right? People don't understand. Like for Satmar, for example, Rav Yolav Satmar, most of his books are... But Rav Yolav Satmar had one of the biggest hearts in the world. And zealousness, kana'ut, like Pinchas, that's an outcome of chesed. That's Kohen activity. That's Kohen behavior. It's on the side of love. When you love someone so much, you're willing to be really, really strict. You're really like a father. A father that punishes, loves his son more than a father that does not punish their son. It takes a lot of love to be able to hold back your love and to show something else out of a place of love. We learned that in here not too long ago. במשך הדורות היו החסידים מבקשי השם נמשכים לדרך זו או לזו. Throughout the generations, the Hasidim, the students of the Baal Shem Tov in all of their different courts, got pulled to this way, got pulled to that way, some connected to rabbis that were like this, some to those. Because some, from the side of the root of their soul, they needed to get a full gulp of the shefa, right? They needed a Rebbe that was giving over a lot. So then that was their way to get into the Nikudat HaYira, into the point of awe of Hashem, to serve Hashem that way. And there was those and the other ones that they needed a little bit less. They needed less of it. They needed a Rebbe that it was mainly just watching him, he didn't speak as much, and that brought them to the inspiration to have Yirat Shamayim. קדושי עליון אשר פתחו שערי בית מדרש ללמד העם. לא הייתה דעתם שונה וחלוקה. These are holy people that they each opened up different schools of thoughts, but their thoughts weren't different. Their opinions weren't actually different. They just had their own and on face value it looked like they're different. But there's one goal. They're both doing the same thing and they're both madly in love with each other. And if they could, they would sit together and be best friends all day long. But externally, there's war. It seems like this Chassidut and this Chassidut are against each other. There's one intention. פשיטה שהעניקו לדורותם אחריהם על מנת לשמש השובינים לכנסת ישראל להתייחד עם קונם יתברך שמו. All of this was just to be able to be the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, to help connect עם ישראל to their Father in heaven. לרוממם מתוך הדברים אך ורק ליראת השם הנכבד והנורא. Everything, all their words were just to lift up עם ישראל and to give them more יראת שמיים on the honorable king, the awesome king, הקדוש ברוך הוא. אלה נקטו באופן בהשפעה רבתי, כי סברו שלכל זמן ועת לכל חפץ תחת השמיים ויקטת המשיך על סף תשורת עולמים עת לעשות להשם. There's those that said everything needs to be an explanation, you have to write about this, you have to talk about this, every holiday, every parasha, there's something that has to be said, and that was their way, right? To say something about everything. Any opportunity to shed some Torah, to spread a little light on this idea, give it over. עת לטעת, עת לבנות, עת לחבוק, עת לדבר. There's times to dance, there's times to sing, there's times to speak, times to, right? All the different times. אמרו מה בצע להשאיר את הנפש בדלותה העלבונה, תחת זאת שתעסוק בקטנות מוחין וכערכה הנמוך. שפוך עליה מים טהורים, מעיינות גדלות מוחין. Why are you letting your body be in such a down place? Pour tons of mochin de gadlut on it. Pour down shefa, divrei elokim chaim, torot, more light, more light. Well, it's either that or be depressed in this world. So go in, more, exactly, simcha, 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 Torah, Torah, Torah. והווה אותה בעווה ורוממות המחשבה להכניסה בתקליני אורה כפי דעתה. Last time we were saying again, remember that, we might not remember, but it just came back to me, that the neshama, it could be telling, remember we said this, it could be telling story time the whole time to the body, but it doesn't want to do that. The easy way for the neshama to lift up the body is just to throw down lights on it, right? Here's a story, here's a sipurei tzadikim, here's some crazy ashkacha pratit story, here's this. But that's not the proper way. The proper way is to send out messages to the brain translates it to the body starts to elevate back up towards the neshama, nullifies itself to the brain, together they serve the neshama. It's the long way, that's the short way, versus the short way, that's the long way, right? Like the Balatanya taught us. So that's what he's saying here. There's those that, there are certain rabbis, there are certain schools of thoughts in the Baal Shem Tov's way. It's like, Yallah, there's people out there suffering, just give over light, give over Torah, give over meaning, give over... Kabbalah הייתה בידם, מיסוד השם אשר להם, כי אורו של משיח הולך ומתגלה בנפשות בני אל חי. They had a Kabbalah, they had a tradition that the soul of Mashiach is being revealed by way of Am Yisrael, by way of the children of Israel, the simple people. It's just a matter of getting them lifted up. The light of Mashiach's in there. Just can we get it up? ויפה העד לאחוז בציציות ראשם של נפשות אלוקיות ולהניפם כלפי מעלה בתנופת אורה, אף שגבוהה מכפי ערכם קיבה מועד. What did they want to do, these rabbis? They wanted to grab the corners of our hair and just pull us up out in one with a lightning, just come down, a spark of light, and pull you from your peyot out of your depths, out of all the troubles that you're going through. But it was a little bit above their pay grade. It was a little bit too soon. Time wasn't ready. Anachlem לישראל, בני נביאים, קדמה מחשבתם לעולם, וקיים בהם והתעלך ברחבה. Let them be Am Yisrael. Hashem thought about them before he even thought about creating the world. Am Yisrael was in the mind first. They're gonna go, it's gonna be okay, they have their thought. בעומדם בדור אחרון, but now that we're in this last generation, זקוקים הנפשות להקדמות רבות כדי להשריש בלב דיבור אחד אשר ייקלט יאיר ימים רבים. It takes us so much preparation now to be able to absorb even one דבר Torah, one דיבור that could give us light for a few days. נצרכים הם לבית יד כדי לדע איך לאחוז בדיבורי קודש שיצאו מפי ראשונים וכמלאכים. We need introductions and handicaps, like help and tools to be able to understand one of the essays of the Rishonim. And the Rishonim were like malachim, right? Like angels. אם תמתין לנפש שתסיים הכנותיה וזיכוכיה עד שהכן תהיה ראויה לקבל ניצוץ אור, כלום תבוא אי פעם. If you wait for a Jew in our generation to prepare himself to really receive from these Dveikut Torah that we're talking about, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Arizal, the Hamarchu, the tzadikim that Ramban, Rashi, 3 words of Rashi can set you on a trip for a few days. For us to get to the point where we're able to receive that, it takes a lot of work in our generation. We all have so much distractions, we all have so many layers around our heart, around our brain. Until the information really, really comes down, it takes time. And if we wait, something might never happen. והרי מצויים ועומדים בזמנים של שריפת נשמה וגוף קיים, ואם לא עכשיו, אימתי. Right now, we're in a time of שריפת נשמה וגוף קיים, a burning neshama and a body standing there. And if we don't do it now, then when? This was the famous machloka between Eshet Torah and Nor Sameach. It was the same yeshiva. What happened? One side said, Am Yisrael is in danger right now, people are intermarrying, going out and left and right. We need to send out mashpim, we need to send out light, we need to send out students. And we need to do as much as possible. So come to Eshet Torah off the street, Baal Tshuva from America, come in, and within 2 years, right, you're out in the street. What did Rav Yom Tov Glazer was here? What did he say? Within 6 weeks of being an atheist in California, he was teaching a class in Eshet Torah in the old city of Jerusalem. He came in an atheist, within 6 weeks he was teaching a class. Because that was the mindset of Ish. Or Sameach said, you're right, people are drowning, but let's make true leaders. Let them sit down for 6-7 years, and then we'll send them out. They both agreed that there's a huge problem, and we need to do something. They disagreed of how much preparation needs to be done. That's what he's saying here too. If you wait, like where Sameach was saying to wait, okay, so yeah, you're making one Jew good enough to hold the community together. But I have 50, 60 communities that are drowning. I'm not picking sides, right? I happen to have studied from both. But obviously there's a thought process here too. So too, there was certain rabbis that said, Yalla, here's light. Here's like Reb Nachman said, you guys can be tzadikim kamoni mamash. You can be holy like me mamash. The same thing. That's what I really want for you. And there was others that said, forget Chassidut and Kabbalah. Learn Gemara and Mishnah and Halacha. I'll do all the work. There are rabbis like that as well. Why? If we have to wait for you to get on the ball, no judging. It's just like we understand your situation. You're one of the last generations. But if we have to wait for you, nothing might be done. So let's just go. אמרו יבוא אפוא שפע אדיר על ראשם מלוא חפניים, אפילו למעלה מהשגתה. ומרוב טוב תהא קטנותה בטלה באלף רבבה. We'll throw so much light from up above down on this neshama. So much light, so much godliness, that the negativity that's in there, there's not going to be time for it, right? When you're busy and you're fulfilled in life, you don't have time for nonsense. You don't have time for junk food. You don't have time for bad habits, for horrible patterns and things like that. You don't fall into Netflix binging when you have meaning in life. You fall into that when you don't have meaning, right? So the same thing that's what you're saying here. Just throw so much light that there won't be any drive or any time to do something else. ובלבד תעשה זאת מתוך התקשרות לצדיקים מכוחם תבוא. You have to do this though by way of the tzadikim. Has to be with a connection to tzadikim. And by way of them you come into it. אם מעט מן האור דוחה הרבה מן החושך, קל וחומר אלומות גדולות של אור קודש. If the Rebbe's taught us that a little bit of light can push away a lot of darkness, even more so when you take huge bundles of holy light and you start throwing it into the darkness. Have ba mochin v'yoru et halev. Now we have mochin, they will arouse the heart. Mitoch v'yadata hayom. You know it now. Yavo v'ashevot elevecha. You know today, because of knowing today, because I gave you so much light, you'll be able to bring it to your heart. Ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim mimal v'al ha'aretz mitachad ein od. Hashem is God up above, down below. There is nothing else. Atzuma kedushat advarim. These holy words are so powerful to shake up every single soul, any poor soul that's out there looking for some inspiration, a little bit of godliness, a little bit of Yad Shamayim, of awe of Hashem, in the inner aspects, in the inner chambers from your own world. Lemala mitam vedat, above any taste and reason. Asher tivnei ba yesod eitan la'avoda tama lelo ravav, that will bring now a place to build the foundation for such pure work, without any ulterior motives, without any other thoughts, just purely to serve Hashem, everything just for Hashem. Like the tzaddik says, Rav Tzvi Hirsch of Zidichov. Tzvi Hirsch of Zidichov said to the Apter Rebbe, Met Hashem zot lanu, hu tachlit התגלות תורת הבעל שם טוב להלביש כל הדברים בפשוטם, ובכוח הזה אנו ממשיכים אלוקותו והתגלות כבודו, ברוך הוא וברוך שמו. The Zidichov Rebbe wrote to the Apter Rebbe, and he said, it is from Hashem that we have this. The whole entire purpose of the revelation of the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov is to be able lalbish kol advarim bepshutan, to take all of these diburim, all of these lofty things, all of these holy things, and to cover them up in simple garments. And by way of that, we bring down and reveal godliness and the honor of Hashem in this world. בראות הנשמה שהשכלי והחינוי עודם יושבים בפרוזדור התקלין. When the neshama sees that the mind and the body are still standing in the doorway of the traklin, of the palace, of the where they need to be working. They haven't entered in yet, like we talked about last time, right? They're prepared, but they're hesitant. The mind is still keeping the body back from really giving in. So the neshama sees this. It hurts for the neshama to see this. She sees what's written from the Rashab, כי הלימוד מצד עצמו הוא הידיעה וההשגה בלבד לבד. Learning, on the side of just learning, pure learning, is just the knowledge and acquiring the knowledge alone. אבל אינו נחרק עצם העניין האלוקי בפנימיות ועומק נפשו עד שקולו היה. But you don't just from learning, you're not able to purely engrave it in your heart as if there was no other way without it, as if it's there, in the deepest parts of the depths of your heart. ובהדר עבודה בתפילה, גם מי שלמד וידע, נהפך לו לסם המוות בקרבו רחמנא ליצלן. But if a person doesn't do avodat Hashem, doesn't do the work on their midot that they need to do, they don't do the tefillot that they need to do, they don't learn the Torah that they need to do, then this same learning that they did, that same knowledge that they achieved, could become the elixir, the potion of death inside of your midst, God forbid. Because by way of that, you become ego and the most haughty person possible. And this just keeps on growing inside your midst until it trips you up, until it pushes you on your face. שלא היה קונה חוכמה כלל ולא היה בחינת גם הרוח, גס הרוח לכל הפחות. The Rashab says, Rabbi Rashab says, it would have been better that you never learned that piece of Torah. It would have been better that you never even got into that Torah and became an egotistical person that you are, and you lose your whole entire world. It would have been better to be a simple person, not knowing anything, and to not be a, excuse my term, jerk because of what you learned. Because you learned something now that makes you better than someone else. Because you learn now, you don't need to beg Hashem for everything because you know. And again, don't forget, we're talking about Kabbalists, right? And when any Hasidic Rebbe tells you, Avoda, they know how to bring down money. They know how to interpret dreams for the right way. They know how to change reality on their level. They know how to do these things. And they're telling you, now that you learned it, right? So you could learn a yichud of bringing down parnasah. You could learn a yichud to make people do tshuva, to listen to you, to be quiet. You can learn all these different things. It's all written out. We have it all in Am Yisrael. We have the secrets. We can control the weather if we want, right? We have the space lasers. We have all of it. But if you learn about all of that and you're using it for yourself or to overcome other people, or you learn those things and you abuse it and you stop to pray to God, that's definitely not the goal. That's not the goal. Let's try to push through. We have Mincha soon. There's nothing loftier than the simple, most fundamental, simple life. It's printed and imprinted in the depths of this world. Halakha tzrufa, the clear, purified halacha. Without moving a millimeter away from the smallest clauses in Shulchan Aruch. That's the highest, loftiest thing you'll ever do. We had a discussion here not too long ago. How is it that Rabbi Nachman died and Breslover stayed for the most part pretty normal? Because Rabbi Nachman said, don't move away from Shulchan Aruch. You don't need a Rebbe if you have a Shulchan Aruch, meaning you always need a Rebbe, right? But if you have the amount of inspiration that you got from Rabbi Nachman, and his main instruction for you was to keep halacha, to make sure you keep halacha, so then every day you're learning how to keep halacha, that means you're a Jew. Your inspiration, that's already bonus. Your relationship with Hashem, and you have Reb Nachman giving that to you, that's an amazing thing, right? But if you don't have emphasis on halacha, and then you also lose your Rebbe, and a lot of crazy things can happen. Lo ba'u chaya pnimiyut ki im lishzor tosefet neshama bechol ele. The pnimiyut, the inner Torahs that we're learning, the Chassidut, the Kabbalah, right? Today's the day of the Arizal. That's all coming, what, the Arizal, so there was no Jews before the Arizal? Before the Arizal revealed Kabbalah, what, everybody then was what? What were they doing? That was the Ikar, that was the main thing, what they were doing. Now in the last generations, we need the cherry on top. We need the bonuses, we need the depths. We're in such a dark place that we need something to spice up just the regular halacha that obviously we're commanded to do as Jews. Obviously we do it. Pashut. There was no one in Am Yisrael that was breaking Shabbat in public 300 years ago. In public? In their own homes, there's always been crazy things in the world. In public, Jews with whole entire towns of Jews that are all married to non-Jews, never was a thing like that. Nowadays, it's going on left and right. We need Chassidut. There's so much darkness, we need light. To illuminate all of that fundamental level of halacha, that every day what you have to do, what it means to even just be a Jewish Shulchan Aruch, to illuminate that with your brain, with your heart, to bring more depth into it. Simcha, chiyut, joy, vitality, love. By way of that, you elevate the whole entire essence. To flip it to a good, spiritual life that is filled with good, that is filled with light, that has a high concentration of reason, of taste, here on this world, not running away from other places. No, you live the halacha, you show up to work, you provide parnasah, you do everything you need to do with a smile on your face, with joy. You know that your sink, like Rav Yoel Tirshman used to say, right? The sink is the sink of the Beit HaMikdash. Your table is the altar. Your candles are the menorah. Your house is the Beit HaMikdash. That's what the Baal Shem Tov wanted you to do. Keep your house, keep it kadosh, like every Jew is meant to do. But see it as so much more. Put your heart into it. Put your mind into it. If your mind isn't taking you to that place, why did you get a mind for? What are you learning Torah for? Just for information? אם אינו אחוז בעוז בלב ליבו של העניין יראה ודבקות בביטול ובתמימות מוטב יורחק ויתעלם מבית מבקשי השם. If you come into deep Torahs and you're not holding on to the main point, which is a deep realization of the kingship of Hashem and the fact that your brain, your heart, and everything that's going on in this world is connected to Hashem, and everything you could ever learn is meant to teach you how to come back to Hashem, and that you realize that that is the relationship, that you're down here and you need Him. Meaning you're the human and He's the God. Meaning you have to pray to Him. If you don't get that, it would have been better that you stayed very far away from the house of Hashem. Meaning, what are you learning the deepest Torahs for if it's not to become a better person? Marchu, Rav Chaim Vital says this outright. What is the point of doing mitzvot if you're not working on your midot? If you're not trying to become a better person and you think it's okay to stay angry and not work on that anger, what's your tefillin going to help you? Your tefillin is meant to teach you about bitul. You wrap it literally in the Hashem Yichud. It says to control my mind and to control my heart. It's there to subdue what's naturally going on in my mind and my heart. So if you put it on and you don't work on controlling your mind and your heart, so what's that feeling doing? And if you're learning Kabbalah and Chassidut, but still not a nice person, and you've been in it for a while, and you're not applying the things that you're learning, and you get angry so quickly, and you want to stay there, and you don't run away from depression, and you don't try to make yourself happy, and when you're feeling down, you don't clap your hands and dance in a circle by yourself without music. You still think that's some crazy thing to do, even though it says it 1,000,000 times in the book to do it. If you still are so far away from these teachings, just be aware of that. You're not in yet. You're still not in yet. And then if you think you know enough to repeat those teachings and to talk on those teachings and to just be aware that sometimes it's not going to add up. It's not going to add up. יושבת הנשמה ושומרת את הדבר מתוך אמונה תמה שלא ירחק היום ויפעלו הדברים הקדושים את פעולם. The neshama knows all of this, sees the mind, sees the body going through the actions, and knows there's such a low level. They're still so far from the truth that the neshama knows. But quiet, they're playing along, they're doing it. One day all of this holiness is going to have an effect. שותקת וממתנת בכיליון עיניים is just waiting there, paralyzed with like this eyes of like what's going to be, when is it going to happen? מייחלת שכבר ירידו דברי אלוקים חיים את פנימיותם. When are these holy words going to shake up the inner aspects? להביאם כי לשון הרב מקליס, the Rav of Kalis says there, אל נקודה אחד. All these teachings are meant to bring you to one point. One point. הן יראת השם היא חוכמה. Awe of Hashem, which is called wisdom. ראשית חוכמה, יראת אדוני. What's the beginning of wisdom? Having awe of Hashem. כי יראה היא פנימיות נקודה של כל גלגל הסובב חוזר עליה. יראת Hashem, and this is so needed to be heard in our generation, which is all about love and thinking everything's okay. Everything in the Torah comes back to one idea, one nikuda. If you had to take the whole Torah back to one nikuda, Yirat Hashem. What's Yirat Hashem? Not fear of God. Awe of Hashem. Seeing God. Meaning, like the Mishnah Berurah says in the beginning of Shulchan Aruch, the first halacha we have in Shulchan Aruch. When you sit at your home with your friends, you don't talk like if you were to sit in front of the king. That's Yirat Shamayim. The goal is that even when you're with your friends, you talk like you're in front of the king. And when you go to sleep, it's not just your bed where God isn't in your room and can't see you behind your blanket. No, God's in the bed with you, can see, can even read your mind. That's Yirat Hashem. Yirat Hashem means Hashem is watching me, listening to me. Everything is being seen, written, and recorded. Not to come and punish me, just because that's the reality. He created the world. He's watching everything. All of the Torah is just bringing you back to that point. Once you know that, you should be happy. You should know God's good. He's taking care of you. He's watching over everything. That means everything's okay. Everything's fine. You shouldn't be worried. You shouldn't be getting angry at anybody. That person was sent by God. Both the one that gave you the check and the one that cursed you out. Right? Everything's okay. But it all comes down to one point. Hashem is there. All of the worlds are only built on that. Everything ascends and comes down to this world. All the hidden lights, all of the good of life only comes down according to one nikuda called Yirat Hashem. האמונה והיראה מזככות החומר ומתארות את הנפש להאיר בנר מצווה ותורה אור. Emunah and Yirah purify the physicality, the materialism, and rectify the nefesh to be able to bring down light on it. Ner mitzvah v'torah or. The candle is a mitzvah, right? And the Torah is the light. Ki achrei ta'arat alev hen advarim. According to the purity of the heart, so too is the things, like we're learning in the classes of the Yanuka, right? להתבונן בבינה לכל צד ופעניין להעמיד האמונה על כנה. You always have to contemplate with depth, with bina, look at every side of life, and to bring emuna into that facet. כי הדעת הנאמן באמונה שהיא למעלה מהשכל, היא הקו היושר המכריע. Your loyal, connected consciousness that ascends above what you understand meaning your emunah of Hashem, that Hashem is behind everything and Hashem is going to do good, that is the straight path. That is the determining path. When you have a side to here, a side to here, emunah above reason and logic, that is the straight path. That is you move forward. Like the Baal Shem Tov says, also like Rav Tushman used to always say, if you have doubts in life, to here, make a decision. The worst thing in the world is to stay in doubt. Make a decision, that's the right thing to do. Messed up, okay, do tshuva, do tikkun, and keep going. You did the right thing, good, keep going. Staying in a place of not making a decision is making a decision to stay in the realm of Amalek. To be in Amalek's camp by choice. You are making a decision to not make a decision. You're scared of what the outcome is? Okay, move forward, face it. It's either you're going to have to fix something and clean up a mess, or you're going to get a nice pat on the back that you did the right thing. But you can't stay back. And Emunah is what allows you to move forward. It's the kav. What's kav? Tikva, hope. It's the hope of light that comes down, that ray of light that comes down from Hashem that allows us to keep pushing forward. V'cho misayem sham Arashab. This is how the Rashab finishes up. This is the power of Rav Kluger. Rav Kluger is a master of Chabad and Breslov. So he can bring you Maimarim for Chabad, he can bring you Breslov, he brings it all together. Baruch Hashem, the Rashab finishes like this. Therefore, a person who really desires life will not exempt himself, meaning will not check off the V, just saying, okay, I learned godly things, I learned deep Kabbalah. The whole point of this learning is to push you to sweat and to put in hard work praying. Pushing hard to daven. להתבונן ולהעמיק דעתו היטב שיהיה נרגש האור במוחו וליבו להתפעל באהבה ויראה אמיתיים. The main thing is to contemplate and to go so deep in your mind so well until you feel the light in your brain and in your heart acting in a way of love and awe, true love and awe. ואז פועל ישועות בנפשו. And then you'll have salvation and miracles happening in your soul. בקיום תורה ומצוות וזיכוך המידות הטבעיים. When you come to do mitzvot, when you come to pray, when you come to learn, and when you want to rectify the body, purify your body and refine it to a higher level. והאור האלוקי נחקק ונקלט בנפשו בבחינת קיום נצחי. When you do it that way, that you learn Torah, and then pray on the level that you're pouring your soul out to be able to keep that Torah in you and to live that Torah, then it's engraved in your heart and absorbed in your body for eternity. Clearly from the Rebbe Rashab, without Tefilah, you're not getting anywhere. If you think Tefilah just means Shachrit, Mincha, and Arvit, you have big problems. You have big problems. Tefilah from the Torah means, and according to one opinion, it's just a daily obligation. According to the other opinion, Ramban, it is anytime you have trouble, you have to turn to Hashem. I don't know about you guys, I suffer all day long and I'm in trouble all day long. Every second in this world is trouble. Every second in this world is an opportunity to be in Tefilah. Like the Baal Shem Tov says, it's either you're in Torah, Tefilah, or Yichudim. You have no free time. It's either you're sitting with a book in front of you and learning something, or you're praying about that thing, or you're praying about other things you have in life, or you're eating and connecting it back to Hashem. Or you're going through something, you met a person, you connect it back to Hashem. Everything needs to be a connection back to Hashem. Everything in life is on one nikuda, irat Hashem. Everything comes back down to the awe of Hashem. That's what it is. That's what our goal is. So now in that big picture, when the soul sees that the body and the mind are playing along a little bit, okay, what's the goal? What's the big picture? Irat Hashem. So they're doing the right thing. It's happening because I told them a cute story and they didn't really get to the depth. Said the big picture is Yirat Hashem. The goal is that they're playing along now, they're doing the right thing. That's the main thing. The right thing is to keep halacha. Everything else, the depth, that's bonus. It's there to add more heart to the halacha, to add more mind to the halacha, to take it deeper, that when you shake your lulav in each direction, you feel a different emotion and it's alive. Yes, but the number one most important thing is that you shake the lulav. What you feel and what you think and what you know while doing it is bonus. Most of the time, it's enough to go through the actions. Obviously, the higher level is to understand everything and to learn the depth. But if you learn that depth and then get ego from it, or you don't pray to keep it in you, or you don't try to implement it, so then it's just information pumping up your ego and will turn you into one of the worst people in the world. Because then you think you know, and you think you're able to do, and you think you're able to tell people, and it becomes clearly a lack of alignment inside of you, which, like we know from this book, when we don't have alignment inside, it shows up everywhere outside. Right? So B'ezrat Hashem will have siyata dishmaya to be able to really download these ideas, to live with them, and to realize, right, body needs to serve the mind, and the mind is a bridge back to the neshama, and the neshama is the bridge back to Hashem. The more alignment we have in that mindset, we know that the body has to take the orders. The mind is there to bridge. The neshama is really in charge. Then that flow happens much easier. And the body will behave better. And the more the body behaves and shows up to class, and shows up to shachrit, and shows up to mincha and arvit, the more the light will be able to do more. The less we'll need to tell story time, and the more we can get into the Gemara. Like the tzadikim say, the students of the Baal Shem Tov. The Yetzer Hara will let a Jew learn whatever Kabbalah and Chassidut that he wants. Just don't touch the Gemara. The Yetzer Hara's worst fear is that you open up a Gemara. Because that level of learning takes you to a whole other place. Why? Because what's the Gemara about? This world, how to live, right? The bottom line, what's the most important? God sent you with 613 commandments, you have to keep them. Learning Kabbalah and Chassidut behind that? Very nice. First do the actions.
Doesn't Chassidut teach you how to do the actions?
No. Chassidut is how to bring the soul, like we're saying, how to bring your mind and your heart into them more. Right? To add the passion into it, to add the depth into it. But you have to do the actions either way, and that's explained that the commandments are in the Torah. Then they're codified in the Mishnah, and how to do them is in the Gemara, and the final action is written in Shulchan Aruch and Halacha, right? But if you just went through that, that would be very dry. If you just went through this, without that, you might as well be a goy. Right? A Jew is a person that crowns Hashem over every action. That is your goal in this world. After that, bring your heart and your mind into it. B'ezrat Hashem, siyata dishmaya.